Leo, hello there, my beautiful friends. We're going to do your general tarot reading for mid-September 2024. Thank you so much for joining me today. You know I appreciate each and every single one of you beautiful people out there. So let's get right down to business as usual and start you off with an oracle card, just so we could dip our toes into energy and see what's happening for the lovely Leo collective. Hope you're all doing fabulous and fantastic, my friends. Let's get it going. My guides and spirit team, talk to me about these lovely Leos. In mid-September, it's Virgo season. What energies, messages, insights can we have a look at? And yeah, we're just going to take a real quick look at this first card. Then we'll get into the full reading itself. At the very end, I'll pull you a bonus card from the Shadowland Tarot, just to see what might be in the shadows or what shadow work you can lean in on, which is always interesting. But let's get it going here. Let's rock and see what we got for Leo in mid-September. Let's get this first card going nice and quick for my good friends. What is happening, please, for the Leo? Yeah, there we go. Ask and you shall receive. And this is something, I feel like I've seen this card for you in recent weeks, and I always say that, yeah, it's imaginative and creative, and I've been seeing that for fire signs quite a bit. But to me, there's a certain complexity that I'm feeling that I've been picking up for you in recent weeks as well. So, I mean, it seems super simple on the surface. Now, before we fully dive into that, if you're new here, I'll be speaking about the September subscriber surprise towards the end, so you might want to check that out. Also, if you could kindly illuminate that like button, but tapping it right on its third eye, you know, I'd greatly appreciate it. But enough of the promo, into the reading. Let's talk more about this card. So again, in the center, we see this lovely lady. She's an art model, or at least that's how I always view it. And she's surrounded by like paintings and sculptures and all sorts of different symbolism. And yeah, it does seem like a very simplistic picture or image here, but to me, there's just so much complexity and depth within this. So when I see that leading off a reading, the two main things I kind of already started leading into them. First off, creativity. A lot of you, if your mind is going, any sort of like imaginative or creative outlet could be extremely positive for a lot of the Leos and beneficial for you. Okay, so whether it's for fun, as a release, or even a business, like this is really great and imaginative type of energy. Just watch out you're not fantasizing or daydreaming too much when this card is in the mix. But again, when I'm talking about the complexity, the fact that this seems simple but it's really not, tells me that there's either a lot of energies affecting you that like people on the outside don't really understand or they can't really comprehend, or there's certain situations where normally it would be simple to deal with, but for some reason it's a little complex. So we're just going to put her down right there, and let's get into tarot. And I always say the first card here, it doesn't make or break the reading. It's just a little footnote. So let's get you 3 cards in the upright. Then we'll get into that intuitive juiciness. So let's shuffle it up here. What do we have for the lovely Leos? And while we get this shuffled up and ready to go, let's talk about last week's reading. Lots of fire energy, which again is something I know you're comfortable with, but the reading was titled An Explosive Talk, and that's an energy that could bleed over for a couple weeks, so keep that in mind. Whether it's a conversation or talk that pops up out of nowhere, or it was like very hot and heavy back and forth, whether it's conversational or argumentative, I felt like there was just a fiery communication happening, so that could still bleed over. But let's see what shows up this week. As you know, energy is very fluid, never set in stone, so only take this how it hits for you, because we could be seeing your vibe or someone that you're linked to. Let's get it going. 3 cards for the lovely Leos. What is going on? Very quick, very first shuffle. Okay, Hermit. And this showed up in the Aries reading. And I know I usually say that a lot, like Aries and Leo usually share themes, at least in my style of reading. But we're starting with a retracted, pulled back type of energy. This doesn't feel very Leo-like to me. Let's get a couple more. I mean, it could be important because of the season we're in right now. Maybe you have some Virgo placements. Okay. So we have the 2 of Wands in the center. What is this strategy? What is this strategic thinking happening? Let's get one more. Okay. Thank you. All right. So there's still a lot of fiery energy here, but it's grounded for the time being. Okay. Now, for some of you, that you might find that a little frustrating, or you're like antsy to do something. That could be very possible. There could be good results coming up for a lot of you too. But again, just like that first card, I feel like there's a certain complexity in the energy here. So let's go through. I'll give you the classical meanings and archetypes, then we'll get into that juicy intuitive stuff. But at first look, first glance, elementally, it's fire and earth mostly so far. And usually those are competing elements. Now they do focus a lot on the material world, Like the swords and the cups, they represent the inner world to me. These ones are more about the material world, the outer world. So whether it's work things, career things, or just things that are to do with the material life. But yeah, this hermit is retracted and pulled back. This one's like kind of planning. This one's going forward. So I'm getting a lot of strategic thinking, very strategic, whether that's something you need to do or something that someone's doing. We're just going to have to look. But this pent up energy that I'm picking up, it loosens, it starts moving, especially with this fire. So let's go through piece by piece and really start to build this out. Position number one, we have the hermit. Now, for some of you, this could be very simple, straightforward. Maybe you have some Virgo placements yourself. Okay, maybe you're connected to a Virgo. At the time of this reading, once again, we are in Virgo season, and this is their card. So when we clarify it, it might just tell us the vibe for the next couple of weeks as opposed to this week. But the hermit is retracted, pulled back. It is not in the limelight. And I know I generally talk about how normally Leos, even if they're not trying to, they get attention. They catch people's attention and eye. So when I see this hermit in a very prominent position in the reading, I'm like, okay, either this is somebody else or you might be feeling a little off when this is here. Don't worry about all that outside noise. We're going to keep going. But the hermit, again, whether it's a situation you're closing off from or it's just something you're taking a step back, it's like very cautious and enshrouded. That's another thing with this. The positives of the hermit, because I don't want to give it all challenge, is that it could be very wise. It could tie into spirituality and stuff like that. But when I see the hermit leading off a reading, it's like not really moving. It's a little pent up. Moving to the second position, this is where I find it extra intriguing because we have this energy that's like hanging back, pulling back, and now there's a lot of planning and strategy happening in the center. We have the Two of Wands. Now, all twos in tarot could represent decisions, choices, being at a crossroads of some sort, like, hey, do I go left, do I go right? Considering something, mulling it over is a big vibe with this. This card also links to travel, situations involving distance, how you're going to move forward. But my biggest thing here is always planning or lack thereof. Okay, so when I see all this energy, whether we're seeing a certain spontaneity or surprising energy, the way the energy flips, because that's kind of what I'm picking up here. It's like we have the retracted, then it's full go. So for some of you, something could spring into action rather quickly. But the big thing I'm picking up here is planning. So whether it's something you need to plan out, whether it's someone you're connected to, or they might be more strategic and plan-based than you think. But we'll revisit it more when we clarify it and get more detail. Now, on to the very back end, we have the Knight of Wands. It's one of your cards right there, my friend. So in my style, the Knight of Wands could just represent you, something you might be feeling, something that could be coming towards you. And this one is full go. This is full on action. There's nothing retracted about this. So whereas this energy is pulling back, this one is approaching. Okay, so we have like this seesaw of energy starting to happen. So whether we're looking at somebody laying in wait, making plans on how to proceed, or whether this is the energy flipping in a surprising or unexpected manner, we're just going to have to look, because the Knight of Wands in its challenge could sometimes be a little unpredictable. It's very fiery, just like the energy we've been seeing for a couple weeks. So I think this is going to be a cornerstone to this reading when we clarify it. Now, as we get to the back end, we're not going to overcomplicate this Knight of Wands. It is what it is. Whether you're connected to another fire sign or that's you, it's just doing a lot of things. It's just doing a lot. Now, on the very back end for your bonus, we have the Ace of Pentacles. And I always say with all aces, they represent opportunities, they represent offers, they represent communication. Usually this to me is like a layup from the universe where something is thrown in your lap. It's a great opportunity. It's a great offer. So there could be something really good coming in with the way the energy starts to flip. We just need to get a lot more of the detail here. I would also say, be a little cautious when we have an ace as a bonus, because in a rougher sense, it could represent an energy that's not guaranteed. That's like one of the challenges of aces. Like, they're not fully guaranteed. Like, you got to make it happen. But I want to dive deeper on all of it, Leo. Let's jump in and clarify. Okay, let's get a good shuffle here for the lovely Leos. Let's see what's happening. Guides and spirit team. And yes, this is where I go intuitive with the message, which means I just tell you how it feels to me. So feel free to do further research or rely on your base knowledge of tarot, because as you know, every single reading is about the reader's interpretation, and I'm just giving you mine. Let's go in on that Hermit. What's this energy retracted for? And yes, if you're a reader yourself, please feel free to play along. That's why the box is here. If you're feeling any messages you want to give to Leo, you could drop it in the comments. I don't mind at all. Okay, Hermit time. What's happening? Why is the Hermit here? Quick, very quick. Four of Swords. So something that may either it may seem seemingly innocuous. I don't know why I'm using that verbiage. Either it's something that seems like, okay, well, nothing's really going on there. It doesn't seem like there's much action happening in that realm. So for a portion of you, there might be an area of life whether you're taking a break from something and pulling your energy back, because that could be very possible with these two cards. There could be certain things you're purposely pulling your energy back from, or it's just something that it seems very unassuming, where it's like, no, well, not much to see there. Nothing's really changed. Like, it seems like it's doing nothing. That's like kind of the vibe it's picking up here. The Four of Swords is a card of rest, sleep, taking a step back. So for some of you, this could be a break period of some kind. Okay, so whether it's something you need, like a little break from work or a break from your studies, or even a break from a connection, or even a friend, you name it. Like, usually everything in life comes and goes in seasons, right? And with what I'm seeing here in the front end, it's like, okay, now's a pause of some sort. Either that or something just seems like nothing's happening. Okay, where it's like, okay, well, that's kind of stale. Now, I will say this, the energy doesn't stay like that for long, because we have this really quick switch that I do feel is coming up. But with the Hermit, Four of Swords, it's like there's not much happening, or at least it seems that way. Let's keep moving forward. Now, if things right now are steady, firm, predictable, and that's the way you like it, depending on your astrological placements, that could be a very good thing. But for some of you, you might find this a little frustrating, depending, unless you're the one pulling your energy backwards. So let's go in on that Two of Wands. Let's see why the Two of Wands is here. And I really want to get to the Knight of Wands as well. But why is the Two here? Why is the Two? Thank you. Okay. Best possible scenario, best case scenario, we have the 10 cups underneath the Two of Wands. I see somebody really, really taking their time with something. Okay, and this could be really good. I will say this, as a fire sign myself, I know we like action. We like to see results. We like to move things forward. And sometimes we could get a little ahead of ourselves. Okay, that's just my view of it. But I'm an Aries. I'm a little more spontaneous than most fire signs. But when I see the Two of Wands with the 10 of Cups, it's somebody taking their absolute time to make sure something is done right. Like, it feels very earthy, very thorough, where it's like, no, I'm not going to rush this. Now, I will say this, with the strategy and planning that I've been picking up and I'm still picking up, I don't feel like there's like a ton of nefarious intent behind it. I feel like it's just someone trying to plan the best case scenario for their outcome, or what's best for them. That's just how it feels. Like, I don't feel like it's meant to be injurious. It's not meant to be harmful or anything like that. To me, it's just, even if it's something you don't quite agree with, it's like they're just doing what they think is best. That's like what I'm picking up here. But I will say this, there is a planning period happening. Now, for a portion of you, this could be Spirit telling you to, like, all right, identify your end result, what you want, what your best case scenario is, and then go from there. So start with the end result and then work your way to it. But there's just like planning, pulled back. I'm thinking, everything has to be perfect. Everything has to be right. So let's keep moving over to the Knight of Wands, because now we might be getting into the action. I mean, I like the 10 cups. This is good. Now, for some of you, if you have had any like pauses or anything that seems very like blah or innocuous, like, to me, it feels like it might be for the best. Okay, like if you're on a pause or a break from something, it might be for the best. But let's see what that Knight of Wands has to say. And we'll do a quick recap before we get into the shadow. Why is it here? Thank you. Boom. And this is almost like a tower. This is almost like a tower, and I always say, when I see the Hierophant in reverse, like, this is shocking energy. Like, this is like a flip, and I've been feeling it since the beginning. Now it shows up here. So for a lot of you, there is something that can really go from 0 to 100 really, really quick, really fast. The Hierophant, to me, is usually grounded, almost immovable. This is Taurus energy, and I've been saying up here in the front, it gives me big earthy vibes. The Hierophant in the upright represents institutions, and there's predictability. It's day-to-day life, your regularly scheduled program. So when I see it in reverse, it's either one of two things to me. Either one, some of you might feel like you're on shaky ground for whatever reason. There could be something that has you feeling a little uneasy when this shows up in the reverse. Or the intuitive thing, it feels like a tower to me. It feels like a shock, whether it's like an action or a situation. Like, to me, the energy like flips out of nowhere, where it's like, yeah, there's nothing's really happening there. There's a lot of quietness, like nothing to see here. Boom, this guy flips in reverse underneath one of your cards. So I feel like for some of you, it could either be a shocking action or a shocking situation. That's just how it's presenting itself to me. Either that or you just might feel shaky, right? And there are always times in life that come along where you're unsure. If that's the case, if there is something that has you on edge, just be cautious. That's a vibe I could say. But let's go through and do a quick recap here, Leo. For some of you, you might really like this outcome, for some of you. But let's go through piece by piece and do the recap before the shadow card. But position number 1, we're starting off with not much happening. We have the Hermit with the 4 of Swords and the upright. And I did say maybe there's something you're pulling your energy back from, or someone else is pulling their energy back. It seems like a pause, a rest period, a break, and there's not much happening. There could also be a situation where you're like, all right, well, there doesn't seem to be any change whatsoever. But I will say this, there could be something happening underneath the surface, especially with this end result. Moving to the center, we have the 2 of Wands with the 10 of Cups. Someone really taking their time with some sort of plan. So it felt very thorough. It felt very earthy. So try not to rush things in this time. It could be Spirit telling you to look at your best end result, where you want to go, and work your way from there. But another vibe I'm picking up here around the strategy and planning, I don't feel like it's meant to ruin you or harm you. To me, it is somebody looking out for themselves. So maybe that's an advice you need to hear. Moving to the back end, we have the Knight of Wands with the Hierophant in reverse, very tower-like. That's why I said, whether this is a shocking situation or someone's actions where something just completely flips, like 0 to 100, like to extremes, where it's like from nothing to everything or from everything to nothing. There's like big flips in energy. It's not very gradual, which is bizarre because as we moved here, it's like slow, oh no, steady, 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 then boom, it just flips real quick. So do what you will with that information. For some of you, you might just be feeling a little uneasy. But yeah, please take a screenshot if you want to look into that further. Let's get a shadow card for you. Let's see what's in the shadows for the lovely Leos, guides and spirit team. What's going on for my friends? And yes, I always like to pull one shadow card at the very end just to see whether it's something within you or something you don't quite see. Shadow cards don't always have to be a challenge. They could be a good thing. Okay, so let's get you one. Oh, and yes, if you made it to this point in the reading, please feel free to check out channel memberships. I'll put a link for it in the comments below. It's a beautiful way to support the channel, and I have much love for all my channel members. Okay, let's get this going. What is in the shadows? Give us a little more detail about what that flip of energy is. Okay, Page of Cups there. Again, just like we were seeing for last week's reading, there's a big energy around communicating. So I think that energy could still bleed over. But the Page of Cups, to me, similar to this Ace of Pentacles, is not fully developed yet. So there could be a situation or something that it's working its way there, but it's not fully realized for one reason or another. This could be a water sign you're connected to. But when I see the Page of Cups, I think of someone letting their emotions out, letting their feelings out. So for a portion of you, maybe there's someone you just need to talk to, or maybe you just need to get something off your chest if it's been bothering you. But again, the fact that the Page of Cups is in the shadows does represent a conversation that you weren't expecting to have, one that pops up out of nowhere. So again, I wouldn't be shocked if the messages I was picking up last week still bleed over with this in the shadows, because it's like a lot of things out of nowhere. Okay, so we're going to put that page right there, Leo. That's what I have for you this week, my beautiful friends. Don't click away just yet, though. I'm going to give you the details of the September subscriber surprise. If you would like to book a personal reading with me, you can check out my digital calendar at my website, mastermetaphysics.com. But for the September subscriber surprise, I'm giving away 2 copies of one of my favorite decks of all time, the beautiful Wizard's Tarot. It's gorgeous and it works great. So if you'd like to get your name in for this, it's 2 simple things. As always, my friends, first, you must be subscribed. And second, let me know down in the comments, where would you like to go for your dream vacation? What are you manifesting? Let me know. Let's bring it to fruition. You'll be entered to win, and at the end of the month, the winners will be announced in the community tab. As always, my friends, much love, and I'll see you again.